So I spent the last week in Chicago. I told everyone I was going there to work on a project, but truthfully, I'm poor, and Chicago is the only place I could afford to stay for 7 days. Chicago is one of those cities that used to be among the biggest and wealthiest places on earth, but now it feels more like a failed experiment than anything else. It's a massive city, but it's segregated, it's dark and a little empty feeling, and the first impression you get riding the train from the airport is that all of the empty space around you isn't supposed to be empty. You can feel the ghosts of Chicago's past in every empty lot you pass along the train tracks. It doesn't feel good, it feels sinister. But at the same time, there's so much to do. Observation decks, boat tours, parties, clubs, art galleries, jazz concerts, a lake that's so big it dwarfs the yachts until they look like shining sailboats in the distance. The Chicago skyline is one of the biggest I've ever seen, and it stretches out seemingly forever in both directions on the flat plains of Illinois. We were walking to an art gallery on our first night, and a bachelorette party stopped to ask us if we could help. We went to another art gallery and got recommended a free art performance next door. After we got there, the performer told us he was going to be doing some clowning. After waiting for a little bit, the performer comes out in a thong with a cart tied to his ankle.
But that was 10 minutes staring at together. Who I am and what I'm not.
The whole time this guy is on stage, he's just pretending to be tortured and making all these little hints that he was bothered by his past and he had become a traumatized monster who had to hide his true self from the world. But I'm just sitting there the whole time thinking to myself, this guy isn't a tortured artist. He's just a liberal arts graduate student who works at a coffee shop and spends all of his free time thinking of new ways to freak out all the other liberal arts college students. If a person were a real tortured monster, they would build a nail bomb, throw it into a crowded subway car, and run off giggling like the Joker. Tortured monsters in real life don't have the mental stability to plan elaborate art show performances. It felt fake, but at the same time, I couldn't be mad. Yeah, maybe this guy fooled himself into thinking that his pain and suffering is different from everyone else's, but at least he channeled it into something unique and interesting, unlike everyone else's parents who didn't love them. But seriously, you dress up like a clown and pretend to shove shit up your ass because your parents don't call you? That doesn't make you a tortured genius. That just means you need new coping mechanisms. One of the things that really bothered me on this trip was just unknown. Having to make plans for myself every day and figure out what to do, I honestly just wasted a lot of time doing nothing, trying to decide where to go instead of just picking somewhere and making the most of my time. I did do some interesting things. I saw a bunch of Nick Cave's sound sculptures at the art museum, which were just really vivid, incredibly detailed pieces of sculpture art. I did go to a conservatory with beautiful fields and grounds and a bunch of plants to look at. I did go to some small galleries and shops. I tried a bunch of food. I looked at the architecture, but I still think sometimes I'm too stuck in my own head to really find the opportunities I'm looking for. It's way too easy to just put on headphones, look at social media, and completely separate yourself from the fact you're in a foreign place because you're doing the same exact thing you do at home. Sitting like an NPC with headphones on, not talking to anybody, not looking around, that's not going to help you find new experiences when you're in a different city. I came to Chicago feeling empty, and I thought that having new experiences would fix that and fill my brain up, make me feel normal again, but ultimately it didn't help much at all. A few days ago, I was almost at the end of my trip and I realized I hadn't had one real change of mind or new thought. But that depressing realization gave me an idea. It seems like in life, all of the experiences we have really aren't going to change us. The way we see the world and feel about ourselves is 99% mindset. You have to have the right values to allow you to get the most out of your experience. You can go on some adventure and see things and meet people and do all sorts of stuff you've never done before, but if you're not paying attention, nothing's ever going to change inside of you. So I realized that I have to be open to experiencing new things and not just sulking in my feelings, frowning at strangers while I'm in a new city, in a new state, exploring and having a good time. Life isn't about having everything, knowing everybody, and going everywhere. It's about having the right mindset so you can make the most of who you do know, where you do go, and what you do have.
But I heard it hit him 4 times with that burner, no dumb shit. She's getting them dumb shit. What else you need to know about him? She can't be fucked with. Set a nigga up or something. Just fuck all that slut shit. Let me pop this perk before we fuck, bitch. I might nut quick. Premature, come to shoot that blow. Always best quick. Premature, come to shoot that blow. Always best quick.